Alright, this is actually going to be the last one I'm doing for today. Reason is, I want to just relax, play the video games, before I have to go. So, look off to you. Doesn't ring. So I'm just going to do this one. I thought about, after the last one, like, no, the next one is a good one. Season 2, Episode 3, Commie Dawkins. As in communist, as in Russian, as in Soviets. Yes, Commie Dawkins. So, the episode is about a wormhole that Tommy and Merton go through, and, I'm sorry. It was coming out. It's one of those things where my stomach hurt. I had to do it. So, episode starts in Emerson Park. Tommy and Merton are looking for this wormhole. They jump through it. They end up in 1989. Okay, so later Boris, our villain for the episodes, says his briefcase contains 10 years of Super Bowl winners, which means up to 1999. So this is late 99, I think we're in. Has to be. For the school year to work, maybe it's early 2000. I think it'd have to be what? Why is it seem so? That's better. They go through the wormhole. Laurie is supposed to meet up with them. They go in the wormhole anyway. Ended up in 1989. So they were 8 years old, 7 years old. They're in elementary school. And we see both younger versions of Tommy and Merton, little kiddies. Merton's not a goth yet because he didn't become a goth until 7th grade, which is changed in this because little Merton sees older Merton and thinks he's cool, so then in a scene later he shows up in all goth. So it doesn't seem to have changed much, and I don't know if we get any more like, oh, ever since I was the blah blah blah, whatever, mentioned later, but yeah. And in the present, a Russian man trying to disguise himself as an American named Boris bumps into Laurie. And even though he has thick Russian accent, he keeps trying to convince Laurie that he's American. No, I'm American. Talk to the hand, that sort of thing. He's obviously Russian. Well, he goes through the wormhole too. Because he has, there's dialogue delivered by him talking on a phone, saying that he's going to change history. And then when he goes in, he's like, goodbye, United States of America. Hello, United Soviet Socialist Republic of America. Something like that. But, so that changed. And yes, they do kind of explain it, because, you think the Cold War was over by 1989 at least. The Soviet was a shell of its former self by that point. So, the question is, how would he do it? Well, he has enough information to change things. While at school, though, Tommy tries to tell his younger self about, becoming a werewolf, don't do this, but the kid stomps on his foot, makes a wolf out. We see young Tim and Travis. Travis, it's the wolf man. And they flip out. And, they're like, it's the wolf man. And they kick Merton. He's like, haven't changed a bit. And so they jump back through the wormhole, having done nothing but maybe change Merton's future. Where did Merton go, by the way? He says, I gotta get out of here, and he leaves. But then after Tommy gets stomped on the foot, Merton shows up and takes him away, covers him with his jacket, takes him away. It's like, where did you go? No. But they go back to the wormhole, and things have changed. But they don't notice it until they get home, which is weird for me. Merton doesn't notice till he gets back to his lair, which this happens twice. Earlier, when they go through the wormhole, they don't believe that gone anywhere because the woods look the same. But they don't notice that everything looks older, or looks newer, I guess I should say. Everything looks like it's from the late 80s. Nothing until they get back to Merton's lair, which is just his basement at this point. It happens again when they go back to the present day, and they don't notice anything has changed on the way back to their respective homes at all. Dean is still sitting in his chair watching TV. Comrades, which is the Russian version of Friends, I guess, and he's got two Russian dolls going with them. I don't know. It just seems like, oh look, Easter egg. Russian doll. You don't see him doing that with regular dolls. Like, what if they had a scene where after Tommy comes back, he's sitting there with two Barbies doing it? I don't know. We find out that the Russians, there was a revolution in the late 80s that changed America into the Russian, thing. And Boris is somehow still the one in charge. And I think it's supposed to be implied that Boris stayed in 1989 and rose up in the regime. There's problems with that. One, there would be two of him now in this universe. Two, he should look older, unless this is the other Boris, and the older Boris kind of dipped off and let the other one say, hey, I am older version of you, and you are going to lead the regime. Even though back then, this guy was probably in his 30s, so he'd be in his early 20s back then. I don't know. Although, the other version of him would probably still be in Russia at this point. So I don't know. Because we never see Boris go back through the wormhole. So it's I'm sorry, this is bugging me. This is really bugging me. This looks weird for some reason. I think it's finally time for me to shave this off. Had it for a while. A little better, I guess. Maybe I should comb it. Anyway, so Tommy and Merton realized that the guy they met must have done something. Laurie, everyone's dressed in Russian. They got babushkas on and everything. I do like when Becky, talks to him. He's like, Comrade Dawkins. He's like, Becky in a drab Russian babushka? That's new. A Russian flag? That's new. Becky wearing a drab Russian babushka? That's new too. And he's like, Comrade Dawkins, your goulash is ready. He's like, Becky hit me with smart barbs, with witty barbs. That's oddly familiar. So they go into town and they meet up with Laurie, who's also wearing a babushka, and says, hey, you guys are going to draw attention to the revolution, to the rebellion, you got to stop. And he's like, rebellion? So she explains sort of what happened. They get captured anyway and are brought to Boris, where he explains via a Bond villain rant about, well, I went back in time and I gave them briefcase, which he still has, by the way. Well, how does he still have the briefcase? If he brought it to his comrades in Russia, shouldn't they have it? How does he now have it? Did he bring it to Russia, and then when you are going to lead a vote in Pleasantgrad, which was called now, Pleasantgrad, and you keep briefcase? Is it? I don't know. It's weird. So, Tommy Wolf's out. It is funny when they're standing there. They push these buttons to activate fans to make the Russian flags flow. And when Boris does it, the flags go right in their face. He's like, right in their face. Makes me laugh. They're just like, I'm sorry. Dear boy! Now wizard in the sky. Okay. Okay, so anyway. I don't know why he popped up. But anyway. they go back through the wormhole, back to 1989, and they want to stop the Russian. So Merton goes and gets his parents' car. How that works, I don't know. We don't see it. It's done off screen. And Tommy goes back to the elementary school to write a note to his younger self about turning into a werewolf. At priorities, I guess. But Merton easily outsmarts Boris. Boris simply doesn't recognize him, although they were in the forest going opposite directions, and it wasn't really known if they were, neither of them knew they were from different times. So there's that. He's like, I'm on the way to Ishna. Throw your bag in the back. I'm on the way to Ishna terminal now. He throws in the back, and he goes, yeah, talk to the hand, Ruski. Because earlier he's like, talk to the hand, because face doesn't want to hear it. Earlier to them, so yeah. And so Merton somehow knows that Tommy's at the elementary school and brings the briefcase to me. Hey, I got it. Let's go. And Tommy's like, but I got this. I gotta give it to him. He doesn't get a chance to give it to his younger self. Becomes human, and he doesn't get to do it. And they run off to get to the wormhole because it is shrinking. So they get to the wormhole. Boris finds them, and there's a struggle, but our boys are able to jump through the wormhole before it closes, leaving Boris in 1989, which is still problematic. He would still know things about the future that could influence stuff. And they do show in the little, wrap-up scene at the end where Tommy narrates that he was thought to be nuts, crazy cuckoo, and was thrown in a nut house for knowing this stuff. However, I feel like that wouldn't last long, because as soon as the things that he said would happen start happening, someone's going to take a second look at this guy and go, wait a minute, he knows things. He knows things. And someone out there is going to have more power. And it frustrates me. It's another one of my favorite episodes. Probably one of my favorites of season 2, at least. It bugs me they never followed up on this. They never followed up on it. There's clearly something. They could do a follow-up on this. There's clearly someone that over the years, someone would figure out, hey, this guy, he was shouting out these things that are now starting to happen. Something. He knows something. It's just wiped away. Boris would have been a great returning villain if they did it. I don't know how they would do it. The wormhole opens up again. I don't know. But yeah, so this does not progress the Laurie trying to figure out the werewolf story at all. Everything's just back to normal. It's Pleasantville again, not Pleasantgrad. Weird name, but yeah, everything is back to normal, and that's the end of the episode. And yeah, it's a good episode. It's one of my favorites, like I said. But yes, so like I said, I'm taking a break now. I want to relax, me play some video games before I have to go goof around a little bit. So yeah, I'll see you.